Okay, you should be good. Okay, excellent. So let's get back where we were. So basically, I was kind of explaining the structure of how CDI and navigators work together. So basically, we have master details view over here implemented with Vaadin CDI. When I'm choosing a presentation, it modifies this URI fragment over here, so it just adds the number of or the ID of the presentation as a parameter over here. And from code point of view, this is implemented like that. So I'll show first the rating UI. So the rating UI here enables loading this UI class to the root of the application with CDI automatically. So it means that we are showing this UI on the screen. And the UI itself, it uses this CDI view provider that is basically kind of implementing, changing the views within this UI, like the views like presentation view or login view or whatever view we might have. Now we only have one view called presentation view. And this is the navigation working in such way that we add a new navigator over here, and we connect this navigator with the view provider, and after that everything else is automated. So we actually don't do anything else over here. And the navigation itself now kind of depends on these views. So each view will be annotated with CDI view annotation, like that, and this view annotation might contain a parameter that would say the name of the view. So if we would say that this is presentations view, then that presentations would be included in the URL. But let's use just the default. So this is the default view that is shown if there is no name at all. Inside this view, we are having two different components. So we are having this presentation details component. So that's basically the right side of the screen, and presentation list component on the left side of the screen. And these are wired up together in a such way that when we enter this presentation view, we call enter method. Enter method basically gets this URI fragment or the parameters to the URI fragment as a parameter, so this /1 over here, and it delegates that to whatever are the parts of the UI here, in this case the details component. So that's basically it for the navigation. The important part of everything over here is that this was just kind of the wiring up, but now we can get all the features from CDI. So we actually can, instead of explicitly initiating anything, we can inject all the parts over here. So we are injecting all the UI components. When we inject the UI component, we can use things like post contract, basically say that this method should be called after it has been injected to the application. Moreover, we can also inject service layer over here. So we are actually injecting this rating service, and this binds ourselves directly to the backend. So that's the UI part. The backend part, I think this is kind of irrelevant in this presentation, but I'll just kind of give a quick peek over there. So this is simple singleton class implementing the rating service. This is just quite a hack. I'm not a backend guy by any means, so I just used a persistency context to do some storing of my data, storing the data back to the data layer using JPA. The actual data model is over here. So there are comments, presentations, and ratings in the data model. But it's pretty simple if you have been using JPA before, so I don't go into details over there. So the next assignment for you would be basically starting or modifying your to-do list to use CDI. So instead of now your to-do list, it uses explicit Vaadin servlet that you are defining the UI. Let's change it in such a way that you are actually using CDI to load up your UI, and you can, I don't know what kind of to-do list you have, but you can add navigator there as well if you want to have different views in your to-do list, like maybe like read kind of list view and kind of admin view where you could, I don't know, do to-do lists have multiple views. I think the most important part is to just to get it up and running.
Okay. So we got Jug button say back.
Yeah. Another way to do this would actually be to just check out this step 1 CDI and browse through the code and try to change things here and there. That would be the easier way to kind of try to break stuff instead of build stuff. It's always more fun. Except when people are breaking my code, like in this case.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see if you have any questions, just shoot on the IRC.
So how's the hacking going over there for you, Sven? So I heard the game's over now. We're on both big screens.
That's good. So.
Well, good for the Germans because they won 1-0.
Okay, who they were playing with?
Us, the U.S.
Okay.
But apparently they're quite happy over there. Are you guys happy about the outcome of the match?
Yeah, you're both running on big screen, small screen.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so we've taken over both screens. Are you guys feel satisfied about kicking in, beating the US up?
I hope the other networks catch up this as well, so after the World Cup is ended, maybe they can broadcast this one.
So we're still fighting again the time lag between Google audio and video from Ustream.
You should be getting audio from Hangouts now. I see you in the Hangout.
We hear you from the Hangout, so.
Yeah, and we hear you from the Hangout.
So, but hacking is fine. Yeah, see the. Yeah.
So did you
Hangout
guys
audio
get?
is fine, but we got no video on the Hangout, and the asynchronous audio from the Ustream video and the audio from the Hangout with a delay lag of 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, that's
really bad.
Sure.
Yeah, no, you should be using the audio from the. Oh, is it frozen? Oh yeah, okay. Your video in the Hangout appears to be frozen. Let me see if I can fix that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the guys are pretty static. Hands are not moving. Okay, now they're moving again.
Yeah, now they're moving.
But do you actually are?
I'm pushing our stream to them, but oh, it crashed. Okay, finally Google Hangout realized it was unhappy and it went belly up. I'll restart it. That explains why they weren't getting good Google Hangout. Doo-doo-doo. Just thinking about joining the Hangout.
Yeah.
Please wait.
Actually, while we are waiting, maybe it would make sense for me to introduce the rest of the JPA layer as well.
Yeah, okay. So
Because it would be good to kind of finish all the contents in time so that people have some time
so
hacking.
people can
in
work
end.
on hacking for the remainder and ask questions. Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So basically, where we are. So that's the step 1 CDI. The next step after that would be actually start accessing data from the JPA layer directly. So we have a component called JPA Container for it. Let me take that one up. So git checkout step 1. So now we should have both access to the data layer as well as full CDI implementation over here. We didn't change much in the project, so we added a couple of things. Let me show you. We added container for gluing data to from your JPA layer to UI component. Actually, if you haven't been using Vaadin data sources, I have a quite good reference for that. So the reference being Book of Vaadin. So on the slides, and all the slides are by the way in the GitHub repo as well. So on the slides, just click the link to Book of Vaadin, and it should open up directly in this Vaadin JPA container. So that has a really comprehensive documentation on what you can do with JPA container. We are just using the very basics of that, but as a kind of simplification, you can have any table in the database and put that onto your UI with a line or two. So let me show those lines. So let's take, for example, presentation container over here and zoom it a bit. So what we have over here is, let's see, class extending JPA container, and the key over here is to say as a generic parameter that which beans you have in your container. We have a presentation beans listed in this container, and then we just inject entity manager over there and set the entity provider to be whatever we have added over there. So that's it. So it basically JPA container does all the magic for you, and you don't actually have to even, if you want to kind of make it quick, you don't have to even create this class. You can just say new JPA container and initialize that with the entity manager as a parameter. But after that, we can start using it. So we can go to presentation list component. So that would be where we have our example running. Over there. So let me reload this and see if it works. So now we have on the left side of the screen, we have a real data from database. And this speaker list over there is just one Vaadin table. And this Vaadin table is now built into my presentation list. So it's just a layout that includes this table over here. And the only thing that we basically do in it is where we have it. We have presentations and we say set container data source. So basically with this one line we can start reading presentation from the JPA layer and put these on the screen. And after that all things like lazy loading and all that kind of complicated stuff is handled automatically for you. The rest of the stuff in this class are just bit of formatting that we want to have it like in the layout, take all the space in the layout, and we want to be able to allow you to select rows from this table. And we say that what happens when you are selecting a row. This is actually pretty handy notation from Java 8. So you could say that pass as a value change listener to any Vaadin class that, hey, when an action happens, I want to call this method from this instance. And in this instance, I basically just get the value change event, and what I do is I navigate to another view. So that's basically it for gluing that to JPA layer. Of course, we have full access for the JPA layer as well. So let me show this example again. Over there. So if I choose one presentation, I actually have the details view. This is still super ugly, but we will be working on that later on. So I can actually change the data. So I can say I'll give a rating of 5 for this view, for this presentation. And let me fire up another web browser showing the same presentation so that you actually can believe that it is storing the database. If I put rating of 1 over here, it's actually not working. It's calculating the average wrong. It should be calculating it right. It's not actually broken. The thing is that we haven't implemented login yet, so it actually thinks that these are the same guys, so yeah. It overrides his vote.
Okay.
How these are glued to the JPA layer, it's actually pretty simple. I can show that as well. So there we are just using JPA directly without anything Vaadin specific. So let's see. What could be a good example, like the presentation rating. So that component is the middle part over here. Couple of fields gluing back to the database. So as always, what we do, we just inject the service over here and start using it. The UI is just 2 text fields. So these 2 text fields over there, we put this on the screen like this. Do some configuration, like we don't want people to modify the average rating directly, so we say that, hey, this is read-only. So these are pretty basic stuff. The interesting thing over there is that we want to say that whenever you change my rating, you want to call rate method from this class. So that's kind of the power of being on the server side. You can really easily wire up all the UI logic on the server side classes that can call to the backend directly. So in that class or that method, I'm just kind of checking if the value is correct, and if it's correct, if it's a number, if it's between 1 and 5. So let's see, I give rating of 10 for this. It says that I can only be between 1 and 5. So that kind of basic UI logic. And the key is that I just call service layer directly, and this service layer is injected over here automatically. So I say set rating, and this actually saves that back to the database. Cool. So that it should be really, really simple to kind of go from UI to database and back with just few lines of code. And CDI does all the magic for gluing this together. With the application example of this size, I mean like a couple of classes, CDI probably introduces more complexity than it removes, but if it's a big application, you can decouple all the components pretty well with this. So I guess that's basically it for actually CDI and JPA. What do you think? Should we go through other topics right now, or should we give a bit of time for people to hack with these first?
I would just run through.
Okay, let's do it. So then after that you can choose which part of the exercise you want to hack with. So the next step is login. This is let's go through this real quick because this is just application specific hack. So I wanted to have some kind of login for rating system, because clearly if you cannot use a rating system if there is no login. And how we did it over here is that let me check out the step 2. And can we actually even update this live and see how it works? No, it didn't. Let's restart the application. So the idea is for the login that I don't want to have yet another password to remember. So instead you log in with your email and you get the link to your inbox for logging in. So let's see if we open up the application. It's still starting the server, it seems. Oh, no, I had a wrong URL. Rating. So it asks your email. So if I say I'm Joonas at vaadin.com, log in. What happens is that it says link sent to Joonas. Actually, I didn't want to configure a mail sending parameters. You can do that as well, but and all the code is in the rating service layer, so you can enable that code if you want to. For now, it just puts that on the log that it would send an email with this link to myself. So let's see, I go to this link and open it up. What happens is that it says that user logged in, and this is Joonas Vaadin, so it just kind of uses this link to identify me. And after that I can start doing things as Joonas. So actually now I probably should be able to log in twice with different browsers. So let's log in as, let's say, admin at vaadin.com, and let's use this link. So the right one is admin, and it acts. No, it is not. Did I take the correct one? Maybe I just have the same browser. I open up a completely different browser. So. Oh yeah, it was admin. That the thing is that I don't still have any UI to modify those presentations. But if let's say we take the first presentation and give it the rating of 1. Maybe there are already so many votes for this that it doesn't affect this. Let's say give 5. Yeah, it kind of rounds it up to 3. And if I go with another user for the same, I already see that it's now 3, not 2. And I can give my rating of 1 to that, and it kind of goes down to 2. So it actually, all the parts work and are stored to the database. So that was basically login. Code-wise, it's implemented as adding a login view over there. Now the login view doesn't have any parameters in the CDI view annotation, so it means that this is the default view, while as the presentation view do have a parameter saying that it's a presentations view over there. So by default you go to login view. Login view shows you login UI, basically what's your email box and button, and in the view you then just listen for changes and do whatever business logic you have for the login. I don't go through the business logic because this is not interesting. It's just really simple stuff of putting your ID on a hash map and checking who you are and then navigating to the correct view. In this case, how we actually store the user, we simply have a session bean called user, and we store the email of the user in that session bean that is injected. So it's CDI takes care of all the contexts and where to store your identity. But let's go forward. So that was the step 2. Then next step would be forms and how to modify data. So for that, the best kind of overview is in a book of Vaadin, a chapter called Data Model. Let's see. Again, my link is wrong. Data. Binding components to data. So it basically gives you a quick overview of what kind of data there is. And in this case, we are using this mostly this container model where we have rows, and for rows we have values in there. So that's basically like tabular data. So the data model is such that we can take any one of these rows, we call them items. So we have this item and we can say to this item that let's bind this to a form. And after that the form takes care of all the commits and discards and buffering and all the validation and little details related to forms. So let me show that how it works to you. So it's step 3, and let's go here in idea. So what happened is that we got one more class called presentation details, and this is how forms are made in, presentation form. So this is how forms are made in Vaadin 7. There are just normal UI components. For example, this component is just a vertical layout. So we don't have a form component anymore as we had in the past. What you do is you just put a bunch of UI components in the form. Like, we probably can run this as well. No, we would have to restart the IDE. And not the server once. So we put bunch of UI components on the form, and that's it. How we actually bind this to data, we do that through an object called field group. So it defines that this is a set of a group of fields, and these should be bound to an item on the data layer. And this is actually quite simple how we do it. So we first create a new field group, and then we put an item for the field group. So it basically says that this field group, the data source for this field group is an Vaadin item. Now we are using just plain Java beans. So we've wrapped this bean in a bean item class, so it can glue any Java bean directly to Vaadin data layer. So we have this presentation bean with topic and speaker and that kind of properties, and we bind this directly to a field group, and then we say to field group that, hey, please bind this to user interface component given over here. And this user interface component happens to be this layout. It doesn't matter whichever user interface component is, but there should be some properties that can be bound to. And these properties are over here. So we have topic, speaker, and start time, and so forth. So these are just fields on that layout, and rest is automated. It actually uses the names of the properties for binding that to a data layer. If this is inconvenient for you, you can also annotate that, hey, please use that ugly name in the database, and that I don't want to have in my class over here. And after that, data gets synchronized between the data layer and what you have on the screen. So let's see if it works out. So let's log in again. Now we have to log in as admin so that we can edit stuff. So we have the edit link over here. So now we see an editor for one presentation over here, and we can modify stuff and save. and we can also do stuff like edit and say reset. This reset actually calls field group.discard, so that kind of transactionality is built into field groups directly. And I guess that's basically it for field groups. They have nice kind of fine-grained details, like let's say your bean has been using JSR 303 annotations for constraints. So what happens is that it actually sees that there are those annotations, it creates user interface level validators automatically for you that, hey, this cannot be null, or that string must be shorter than 5 characters and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's always good to have validation on both sides.
Yeah, and it's fully declarative, so if your JPA layer has that already, you don't have to do anything. UI gets created for you automatically. Cool. So then the next step over here would be add-ons. So in Vaadin, let's open up a browser. We have a huge directory of add-ons. So let me go there. So you just go to vaadin.com, click download and add-ons, and you can browse through 440 add-ons. Let's take a simple example like, what was a good example? Let's take any one of these. Easy uploads. You typically have like download counts, ratings, version history, that normal stuff that you would find in any app store. But basically almost all of the add-ons are free, so it's not an app store in that sense. You also have screenshots normally showing that how the add-on component looks like, so you don't have to even download it. You have some code examples how to use it. And if you want to use it, you have two options. You either click download button, you basically get the jar file that you can drop into your project. Almost everyone clicks the Maven button, and what they get over there is Maven definition and Ivy definition that they can cut and paste and put into your projects. So I can just cut and paste this is my POM and add an upload field to my easy uploads component to this project. So let's see this from the code side. Let's check out step 4. So what happens here is that my POM XML now contains a new add-on dependency called rating stars. So this is how we can rate these presentations. That is basically would be it, but there is one extra step that must be done. Because now this rating stars, it also contains client-side functionality implemented in Google Web Toolkit. So we have to compile this Java-based client-side functionality to JavaScript, and this is only actually done once. So after kind of adding your add-on to the project, you compile once and it's done. I tend to use Maven for this. So we have this Vaadin Maven plugin in the project where you can first update the widget set. What it does is actually scans through your project and figures out if you have any add-ons in use. It automatically updates. Google Web Toolkit has this GUID XML file that defines where the code are. So it basically auto creates those for you after adding this add-on over here. And the next step would be Vaadin compile. So it takes the built-in compiler and compiles the client-side implementation of our application, integrates this rating star functionality over there. Annoying stuff is that this takes a bit of time, so it takes maybe half a minute or so on a fast machine, a bit more than on a slow one. And while it compiles, so what it basically creates, it creates a JavaScript file that has the implementation fine-tuned for all the different browsers and basically kind of patching different bugs in different browsers. So now we got it compiled and we can, I think Tommy always wants to that we restart the server after we have changed our dependencies in the project. So let's restart it once more to get this add-on integrated. While restarting, I can show how it actually is used. So the rating, did we have it over here already? No. Presentation ratings. So in the previous version, we had this ratings done with text boxes. So instead of using text boxes, we just have replaced these text fields with rating stars component over here. Otherwise, the code is basically exactly the same. It uses the same data sources. It's actually a bit more simple because it does all those. You don't have to parse from strings and see if there are numbers or not. This is just using numbers directly. So let's restart this one. Or run this one. So we are Joonas at vaadin.com, and we get the login link. Now we can open up any presentation, and we see these ratings
Cool.
with the kind of animated rating star widget over here. Some of these presentations seem to have so many ratings that it doesn't matter if I rate them somewhere, and some for some it average actually changes. So that's add-ons, and I think it's actually quite fun exercise to go in the directory and just browse through and see what kind of cool stuff is there and try to integrate something. So we'll continue with the final step right away. That would be theming. So for theming, again, the best place to start learning about it is the book. I hope I have a correct link this time. Loading, loading, loading. No, it seems that I cut and pasted all the links wrong over there. It looks that this is correct, this text, but Keynote kind of put a different link underneath. Anyways, you just take the theming section from the book, and you are good to go. And it explains things like the structure of the themes, as well as points you out to SAS, how the kind of SAS compilation works. SAS is a notation that is kind of abstracting away from CSS so that you can build your themes in a bit more convenient manner. So let's see how this works in practice. So finally we can check out the master branch. Oh, we have introduced something over there. So now we're in master, and the new stuff in our project this time is put under web app folder. So there is this new Vaadin folder and themes folder. So all the themes go to this themes folder. How you select the theme is basically in your UI class, you just add theme annotation over there. So now you say that, hey, we want to use special theme instead of default one, and the special theme is called rating. So it actually goes to this themes folder and chooses rating theme. Rating theme contains basically rating SCSS file. So this is just defining how the theme should look like, as well as that's basically it. The rest are kind of normally generated from the archetype, so you don't have to actually build this by yourself. In the theme itself, you defined everything within. Let's see, it's introduced over here. Everything within one CSS class rating, so that if you have different parts of the web page, your theming doesn't kind of flow out to the rest of the web page. And that's it for it. Let's first see how it looks like and then discuss a bit more how you can build it. So now there is one complication because I wanted to use a Valo theme that is not released yet. And this Valo theme is actually quite huge effort in Vaadin. We have built a kind of Java-based SAS compiler that compiles the theme. The thing is that we are using such advanced features from SAS that our compiler doesn't compile our own theme yet. So it's a bit embarrassing situation that we are fixing this month, I hope, or by the mid-July. So we are actually using now external compiler, and for that I have a Maven project somewhere. So we have included already this, or should have been included this SAS compiler. Where is it? Why isn't it over here? Should I somehow refresh this? Oh yeah, now after I refreshed, IDEA noticed that we have SAS compilation target as well over here. So what I can do is I can say SAS update style sheets, and it basically compiles from those SCSS files to regular CSS files. So that way we can use all the kind of high-level abstractions on top of CSS. You can actually code directly in CSS as well, but it's a bit more. It becomes more complicated when you have a lot of CSS. I can actually demo. You actually have a lot of CSS in this case. After the compilation, the CSS style sheet is quite long, so you don't want to modify that kind of CSS by hand.
No.
So let's see, where is our application? Ooh, maybe I have to again restart the server.
Looks like it's getting late over there in your Lake Constance, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are yawning.
You guys should have more beer over there.
Yes, it's definitely better beer timing. Although.
So this is the same application but with a different theme. And there is also kind of quick link to kind of just pass through the
Nice. Looks very professional now.
Yeah, it looked a bit outdated. It's the reindeer default theme is from 2009 and it shows. And with Valo theme, we actually had an interesting problem with theming. We were building this Vaadin TouchKit product, and over there we are kind of simulating iOS look and feel really closely.
Yeah.
And we were almost releasing this until Apple released iOS 7, and then now it looks completely different. So we had this product that looks like iOS 6 pixel by pixel, and it looks pretty outdated. And at the same time, guys building for Android, they kind of complained that I cannot run this, even though it works in my Android phone, but it looks iOS 6, it's totally stupid. So we decided that the theme that we are gonna be doing would be such that you can actually change high-level parameters how the theme should look like. So with some simple parameters you could change from looking like flat Windows like to looking like iOS to looking like Facebook. So it's just a handful of parameters, and those are kind of built on top of SAS, and it kind of enables you to change all the different parts of the theme at once.
Cool.
So one another thing over there is that it is responsive. So when the component gets reside, it actually can change things like font sizes and layouts a bit.
Yeah.
And normally all this responsiveness is done with the media queries in CSS. And media queries are just fine if you're building websites. The thing is that media query actually says only that or you can bound CSS changes to media queries according to the width of the page. So if I'm kind of resizing the component width, not the page, media queries wouldn't give you anything. So we basically kind of copied media query notation in a such way that you can also wire up those changes on a component level.
Yeah, cool.
So this is done. Let's see where we have it. Over here. Done like this, so we can give width ranges. So these selectors are included only when the component width is within this range. So this is something that you can at the moment only do in Vaadin. It requires a bit of extra layout management that is not built into browsers. But I guess that kind of we have gone through all the different topics in the workshop.
Okay, so yeah, Sven just mentioned that he actually has step 4 working.
Okay.
Over there. I'm putting you back on the big screen, Sven.
Okay, a question I have for you. I have created my JavaScript component here.
Okay.
But it's when is it run? Because yeah, that's working, but because I am initializing the JavaScript here in the old way. So what I have in my UI is I instantiate the component, and I have called this method. This is just a method for.
But let me show you the init part of the component again.
All right.
So you had something like.
I don't have anything because.
Yeah, but you have this initialized.
Yeah, this is mine. This
yeah, but are you calling that?
Yes, I am.
So
but yeah, I am calling that, but this is not the thing, because I want to remove it.
Mm-hmm. You should put that into JS file.
Yeah, I can.
So you
no, but what I want with this component is to load this. All right, I want to use this component to load this.
Yeah. So yeah, and you have already put the component on the screen, or?
No. So
this is just a normal Vaadin server component. You have to put it on the screen to actually show. That was easy one this time.
Yeah, I thought it was it's kind of absurd to instantiate a component which doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but these are visible components, so it's
all right. Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I feel interrupted.
No, you were troubleshooting. You're a real hacker. Okay, so how are things going over there, Sven? You want to say hi on camera?
Camera.
So how did things go for you guys as a group today?
Turn the mic off, please. Huh? Turn the mic off.
Hi.
That's always the classic mistake when you're having a wireless mic.
I hope the mic is working well. So
yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Some trouble getting Maven running, getting ID integrating, getting Git working, switching branches, but finally, I think everybody got at least some examples running. Oh, one guy is still trying to get the setup working, so we'll help him out. Maybe it's the enterprise proxies behind. And yeah, but a lot of fun, very interesting framework. I heard a lot of it, but never really tried it. So was a
Cool.
good chance to look into all the stuff, and I'm pretty sure I will a bit more deeper look.
Yeah, I think that the workshop was done in such way that there are like different levels of depth. So we go from like hello world to actually integrating latest bleeding edge changes from the from the next version of Vaadin. So it's not expected that everybody would actually start from this integrating bleeding edge changes, but you can experiment on whatever level is the most convenient for you, or whichever step is the best.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys made pretty good progress. There weren't a lot of issues or problems you guys hit other than just network Maven issues. Watch out for that.
Yeah. So we tried out the master version, so just doing stuff and see how it goes.
Cool. And how did the new setup work today with the alternate, other than our little crash in the middle, with the new Google Hangout setup?
Yeah, that's the way it works. So pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was definitely easier to reach you guys because we don't have the stream lag to worry about for getting responses from you.
Yeah, we're getting used to it.
All right, cool.
And you
Alright.
also tweeted a pic about the to-do you created, so
Oh, yeah, there it is. Step 4. I will retweet it. So when you're tweeting stuff, Sven, make sure you put hashtag night hacking because that's what shows up on the website.
oh yeah, that I didn't see that one.
Ah,
It's cool to mention the Twitter ID, but then it doesn't show up on the website because that's not part of the website query. But I'll get it up there by retweeting it with the hashtag. There we go.
all right. Next one.
All right, so we'll hang out a bit to help you guys out with the lab. I'll leave the Google Hangout open, but I think we're gonna conclude the live stream.
Yeah, I think that's it. And we are over here. And if you are not reachable by Hangout, Vaadin forums is a really good place to ask any questions related to any
Yep.
of the topics that we have had.
All right, so I want to thank Joonas very much for being our presenter today. That
thanks.
was an awesome, well-prepared lab.
Thank you.
And
In time, like by this morning, 8 a.m. something like that.
and also thank our technical expertise.
We can show that or
If you want, you can tweet any
all
of
right.
Yeah,
Maybe it's better just to tweet the results. So
Okay.
tweet the results of some of the hacking you did. And also I want to thank Vaadin for being our official beer sponsor for the night hacking.
yeah,
Worldwide.
consuming it ourselves as well. So it's
Yeah, very nice.
okay.
All right,
Thanks for
so
having us.
Thanks, everyone. And happy night hacking. See you on August 7th with Reza for Java EE night hacking.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks.